Hey there, and welcome back into the Direct Selling Accelerator podcast. My name is Sam, and today I'm going to be talking to you about parenting. What does that have to do, Sam, with Facebook? Well, it's got a lot to do with Facebook, and here's why. For so many of you guys, you are trying to manage your business on social media. But for many of you, you are also parents, you're balancing relationships, you're balancing business, you're balancing friendships, all of those fun things. And there wouldn't be a day that goes by that someone doesn't say to me, wow, you've got 4 kids, how do you do it? And I think to myself, I don't want people to do what I've been doing for all of these years and comparing myself to other mums out there. Because let's face it, we've all got our own story, our own journey, our own challenges, and none of us are perfect. But I thought, who better to pull in to talk about this very topic than the 2 women that inspire me the most as a mum, but also the 2 women that have shaped me the most as a mum. So today I have the absolute privilege of being able to introduce you to my own beautiful mother, Karen, and my amazing sister, Amy. And of course, wouldn't be a chat about mums if we didn't have a child in the room. So we've also got my beautiful nephew, Hudson, with us as well. And so I can't wait for you to hear this episode. This is something a little bit different, but I wanted to use it as an opportunity. If you're a mum at home, even a dad maybe, and you just feel like, you know what, I'm not measuring up, or I'm finding this really hard, or you're in the thick of the crazy COVID scenario that is our life right now, and you are trying to battle balance and work and parenting and all of those fun things, I really hope that this episode gives you a little bit of a laugh and maybe some inspiration and just a little reminder that you are awesome and you're doing a great job. So tune on in, listen in, and I can't wait to introduce you to these very special people. Enjoy. Welcome back, everyone, to the Direct Selling Accelerator podcast. My name is Sam, and today I am joined by 2 of the most awesome women I know, my mum, Karen, and my sister, Amy. And we also have little Hudson here, who I'm sure you'll see in a minute, but he's busily eating at the moment. Since I wanted to come in and speak to you guys about, I have a lot of people ask me constantly, how do you do work and be a mum and run a business and do all of those things at the same time? And I thought, well, why not pull in 2 of the most amazing mums that I know, but also 2 of the most inspirational women I know. And we'll get to talk about that in a minute. So I thought I'd introduce you to 2 of the women in my life. So welcome on in, guys. Great to have you here.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah. Now, this will be a bit of an interesting chat because normally I'm all professional. I feel like that's going to go totally out the window today because who knows what's going to come up. And I didn't really brief these guys too much. So I wanted to pull you both in because we have some of the funniest conversations. We have some heartfelt conversations. We have a lot of conversations. And I thought, well, as mums, all going through different things. Mum, you've done the mum thing. You're now a grandma. Yep. And Amy, you are right in the thick of the baby thing at the moment.
Like currently in the thick of the baby thing at the moment.
So I thought it'd be really great to have a bit of a chat to you guys about all of this. So I just want to sort of kick off. Mum, maybe can you tell everybody a little bit about who you are?
Well, I'm your mum and I'm Amy's mum. And what else would you like to
know?
Well,
how many kids do you have, Mum?
I have 4. I have 4 children. Yes.
4 children. You've also got stepkids.
I have 3 stepchildren, which is a total of 7.
7, right.
6 girls and 1 boy, and they run.
Child.
The boy, and they run from 2 years apart, pretty much.
So
and you're right in the middle.
I'm right in the middle.
You're right in the middle of the whole bunch.
Oh, right, of the whole bunch. I was going to say no. As far as I can recall, I'm your firstborn. Yeah.
You're the eldest that I first actually gave birth to.
It's not even confusing. Firstborn, but you're right in the middle.
Yeah. This is what happens. I like to talk about it as litters. When people ask how many sisters I've got, I say I've got 7 sisters and 1 brother. But in our litter, there's 3 of us.
Yes, now you've confused it more.
Yeah. So Amy is a full blood. We're full-blooded sisters.
Most of
like a half blood.
My children are full bloods.
Yes. Most of your children are full bloods.
So Hudson's looking at you going,
what are you talking about? Okay, so Mum, when you had us, you have been in and out and all over the place with work.
Mhm.
When you had me,
Mhm.
were you working?
Yes.
Yes. Can you tell everyone a little bit about that? Because you weren't just working, you were kind of running a business, right?
We had with your dad, a professional photography business, a camera store, and so very busy. We did a lot of school photography, professional portraiture, all the things that you do. Yes, the first baby on the way. So I knew very, very well that as soon as I had a baby, it wouldn't change anything at all because, as you know, babies just sleep and eat, don't they?
Yeah, that's all they do.
Apart from as long as you change their nappy, it's not going to change anything. And we'd actually planned.
That was my misconception.
Yeah, we planned a conference.
They'll just work around us.
Yeah, when you were going to be, I think, about 3 weeks old, 4 weeks old, we were going to New Zealand for a conference, a photographic conference. And, well, obviously, I never got there.
You didn't make it.
We didn't.
Do you know, I have heard of people, and I'm not condoning this, but I have heard of people that have quite literally gone, I'm going to do it anyway, and rocked up, days after having a baby. And I just think, how do you do it? And I think it's just pure sheer will not. Actually, one of the things that I've got to say about becoming a parent for the first time, I don't know if you guys agree with this. I'm sure that you do, but no one can prepare you for it.
No.
So you told me sleepless nights, you'll have vomiting children, you'll have bugs going left, right, and center. They cry. You'll be stressed, you'll be tired, you'll be grumpy.
Mm-hmm.
And the moment that you have your first baby, you go, why didn't anyone prepare me for this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they can't. It's like being hit by a truck a little bit because you're just completely organised and self-sufficient, and then suddenly it's, and you're hormonal as well. There's so many factors that come into it once you have a baby. And the other thing is, I think every new mum feels a bit of a wreck. Suddenly their body's not their own. The whole biology, the whole thing has changed, and everyone else seems to be doing it so well. You go down the supermarket and you've got your baby in the trolley, and every other mother is perfect and they're doing it so well. Yeah. And inside you're just melting, you're just falling apart. So it's such a difficult time, a difficult thing to
going
cope
through the
with.
supermarket when one of them is not harnessed in a trolley. You've got two of them that are free to venture the supermarket. That is the most anxious. Oh my God, the most anxious time you'll ever have.
Actually, you're reminding me of a story, Mum, that you have of this exact situation, right, with supermarket and children not harnessed in trolleys.
Yeah, look, I think by that time, I had 3 children at that time. I had a wedding to do that afternoon, do the shopping that morning. And so I was in a big old Harry gathering, of course, at the Easter egg thing. And you guys just left and ran. And I thought, well, that's the way the supermarket works.
How old were we at this time?
Ooh, I reckon you would have been about 6.
Okay,
maybe,
so that would have
made
5 Amy 4 or 5.
And Pip probably ran about the 3. And I mean, I had her.
Perfect.
No, she was 2. Yeah, she was 2, and she was. I had her in the trolley, but you guys were off, and I've said, don't run away, and you need to. And so I said, I'm just going to let you go and do all my supermarket shopping, and you just ate all of these Easter eggs off the shelves. You just sat there by the checkouts, pulling them down. I said, well, they've left them there where you can reach them.
It's their logic. It's their fault, right?
Yes. And then we got in the car and you guys just looked at me and I said, yeah, you're in trouble. Just wait till we get home. And you just looked at me and just like, oh, I'm in trouble.
I do remember that, that feeling of it's coming.
Yeah, it's coming.
Actually, I've got to say one of the really challenging things. It's all right. You can get the dummy. I'll take him for a minute. One of the really challenging things is for me, Mum, that you were so scary when I was little, like so scary.
Yeah, you have to practice the voice.
So I really struggle with this because my kid said to me the other day, I never yell and I'm not scary. And I'm like, I feel like all I do is yell. And why aren't you afraid of me? I actually want my kids to be afraid of me.
I didn't think I was that scary, but I know I did have a voice because
I there was a time where I didn't hear the voice for a while until I made the voice, and then I was just like, oh my God,
I have a voice.
That's the voice. There it is.
I didn't realise I had one until one of Ryan's friends was around, and he threw down one of those, those little exploding firecrackers right behind my heels, and I nearly had a heart attack. And I asked him kindly, would you mind not doing that again? And Ryan said, Mum, you can't use the voice on my friends. So apparently it just happens when I least expect it. There it is. But but children do. They have tantrums, and when they're little, what can you do as a parent? What can you do when you're in a supermarket? It is the most diabolical place.
You just say to your kids, it's like, wait till I tell your mother about this.
Yes, that's what it's like. One of my friends I remember really clearly, because she had a daughter the same age as you, and I thought you were a tantrum thrower, but her child on the way back to the car.
Sorry, Hudson's just trying to have his say here. Oh, Zoom's just come up and asked if we're playing music. Sorry,
baby music.
Yeah, sorry, keep going, Mum.
So her little girl threw this massive tantrum while crossing a really busy street. And so there she was with Mum's in the middle of the street trying to get this screaming child up. And so the lights changed and all the traffic started coming towards them. So she had to stand and direct traffic for a while until she could actually recover the child and get off the road. So, there's always
It was one of those moments that I looked good.
Yeah, it's exactly right. I remember thinking, oh, poor thing. But, it's all, these are stages.
Yes.
With parenting, there are some things that are really, really important that can make parenting difficult and make decision-making difficult. But things like tantrums, teething, sleepless nights, nappies, they're all stages and they will pass eventually, and you will, life will change away from that. But
do you know, I've got to say that's the one piece of advice, I've actually repeated it on this podcast before, that has got me through so many stages of parenting. And I think I repeated it to you the other day, Amy, because it's that, oh my gosh, will this ever end? Whatever is going on at that time. And you're so right. Like, you get to a point where you go, oh, that thing that I was really stressed about isn't happening anymore. But now I've got a whole other thing that I'm dealing with. Yes. We'll talk about that in a minute.
There are always new stages. That's right. But you're always a mother. That never stop being a mother.
No, that is true. And so, Aim, I haven't really had much of a chance to introduce you yet. So I thought I'll hand over to you for a sec. Can you tell us a little bit about who Amy is? Because I've got to say.
Well, one thing that I was starting to think about before, when Mum was saying that she was, thinking new mother, I can do anything that I did before having kids, just with a kid, they're just there. So I was writing a book, or started the process of writing a book, when I was pregnant with my very first baby. And I thought,
have it handy.
This would be fantastic because I'll be off work. I'll have all this time to just sit in front of a laptop and write recipes and proofread and take photos and cook food and blah, blah, blah. And thinking, now I'm like laughing at myself, my past self. But I had to call in my mum to take my newborn baby for walks while I was doing all of this, to actually get the book done. And, it was madness thinking of it now, that I think, I thought I'll be off work to look after a baby. Why not fill my time with a project like creating a cookbook? But it was,
So to be fair, it wasn't just that. I mean, this cookbook, he wants to know what we're talking about. This cookbook you wrote off the back of Masterchef.
Yes.
So what year were you in Masterchef?
It was season 7, so 2015.
Okay. And to be clear, you got to, because I'm so proud of you, but I want you to say it. So tell us a little bit about that journey.
So I got to top 9, which is, I think it's a great effort. But I was saying to my eldest the other night, I was telling Mock, because I was getting cross because he wasn't eating his dinner. I said, Rory, eat your dinner. And he goes, why, Mum? Because you were on MasterChef. And I was like, yes, because I was on MasterChef. You should eat your dinner. And he goes, well, you didn't win. So that's all we've got to do. We've just got to apparently.
I don't think we ever said stuff like that.
I didn't win.
No.
Oh.
So, all right, let's just go back a little step here. You were a full-time hairdresser.
Yep.
You
hairdresser, student, MasterChef.
Let's just, you just glossed over that for a second there. So, hairdresser, decided you wanted to be a school teacher, so you went to uni.
Yep.
To study part-time.
Yep.
At uni to be a school teacher. You then went, hey, MasterChef sounds like a great idea. Let's do that.
So 3 very different.
When did you get married?
2014. So I was on MasterChef in my first year of marriage. So my first year of marriage, I was in a house stuck without being able to phone.
That's right. Husband. I forgot about that, because I actually found some of the letters the other day that you sent to me, because you were not allowed to ring anybody. You were for 3 months. Was it 3 months? Was it longer?
3.5. It was nearly 4 months. Yeah.
Stuck in a house with all these other contestants,
And
you weren't allowed to ring. They let you out, chaperoned occasionally to go shopping for necessities.
We had to go. It just sounds bizarre thinking of it now. But, yeah, as a big group because, confidentiality was a very, very big thing for them, obviously. But, we all had to go as a group and it was always chaperoned. Even in the house, we were always chaperoned because we didn't have any phone, internet or contact with the outside world. So there was who we would call our carer, to be funny.
Your warden.
Our warden. She... if for any reason we did need to, or if the producers needed to contact us to say, yeah, we're going to start filming at 6 a.m. or whatever, have everyone ready or get, they would contact them. So we had no contact with the outside world except for our 2 phone calls a week for 10 minutes and that was it.
So you were able to speak to Simon for 10 minutes twice a week and that was it? Or
yes,
you had to pick who you wanted
most of the time. Yeah, you could pick who you wanted to talk to, but it was 10 minutes. And for, all I wanted to do was to hear his voice, but it was so unproductive because he didn't have any information of, like, I had friends that were having babies and I was like, has Susie had her baby yet? And he was just like, oh, I don't know. And so, next week I was allowed my next 10 minutes. I was like, did you check? Has she had her baby? It was like, yes, I did. I checked. Yes, she's had the baby. And I was like, awesome. What did she have? I don't know. Another way. What did she have? A little boy, a little girl? Little boy. Oh, what does she know? I don't know. So it was absolutely hopeless calling him. So occasionally I had to call my mum or my sister or whatever, and which was, also lovely to talk to somebody else. But it was,
and you weren't allowed to see like news or anything like that either, were you?
Oh no, we did get to watch the TV, but there was a lot of channels were cut. So obviously we had the food channel.
And because I remember getting letters from you because we were writing back and forward to each other at that time. Sometimes there'd be like a big black scribble through something you'd written.
Yeah.
Because they're obviously reading all the letters.
Yes. Yeah. So every letter that you send and receive was proofread just to make sure that you didn't.
It's like war letters.
Yeah.
So all right. So you've done Masterchef, which is amazing, and you got into the top 9, which is amazing, and you wrote a book, which is even more amazing. Which, by the way, if anyone wants the best cookbook ever, we'll make sure that we make that easy for you guys to acquire. But you then went and studied to become a teacher.
Yes.
Now, you did that during your first 2.
Yeah.
That went over the first 2 pregnancies. Yeah?
I think my second pregnancy was the busiest of my entire life because I was raising a toddler. I was pregnant. I was doing my final 2 internships of my prac. So I was working full time, not getting paid for that work, writing a cookbook, publishing the cookbook. So it was getting launched. We moved house.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that.
Yeah. So there was a lot of stuff going on, a lot of stuff.
So if you could go back in time, would you change anything about that whole scenario? Because you took a lot on.
I did. I would probably tell myself, calm down, stop. Like I'm glad I did everything. Like I don't have any regrets and I'm really proud that I got through it all, but it was so hectic.
Yeah.
I was really excited to once even just one of those projects was finished, to just not take anything on again for a while. I think when I was pregnant with Hudson, the last one, I think that was when I finally learned chill out. Things will get hectic really quickly. So just stop.
Yeah. Yes. And have you noticed anything different this time around? Because Hudson's your 3rd.
Yeah, to be honest, not working at all, not working a single minute, but I'm busier than I've ever been in my life, I think. I think
is it funny
work
how
would
that
be
works?
more relaxing.
So a question for both of you guys right now. What's the one thing that you wish you knew before you became a mum? Putting you on the spot now. Mum, you go first. What's one thing you wish you knew before you became a mum?
I don't think it would make any difference because you're learning there's no one thing that would be useful to know. I mean, you're learning. You never stop learning as a mum, and I can't think of a single thing. I mean, we all read all the books, don't we? And
I think everybody has different experiences as well because, there's things that surprise you after becoming a mum that no one tells you those things because they either knew about it or it didn't affect them like it affects you. So it everybody's journey is different.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's just
make sure you just don't ever try to be perfect. I mean, but that's advice. That's not knowing something. You know as you learn as you go. And
talk to other mums, I think, is a big thing.
Read less books.
Read less books.
And be kind to yourself. Like if you're not well, if you're not looked after, you can't look after the little ones and your partner. And but it's a really dynamic process. There are so many things involved in. All babies are different, all mums are different, all partners are different. So there's no one pattern. So there's no one right way. There's no one thing that makes it work or not work. And you might have, the dream baby. Don't we hate that when your best friend has the dream baby and they sleep through the night after 2 weeks?
Hang on, whoa.
All that.
I'm sorry. Were we not dream babies?
You were all dream babies.
Yeah.
And I just look at them and go, yep, you've got one, but there is no way you're going to have 2 or 3 dream babies. It's all going to, they'll.
To be really fair, and I've spoken a little bit about this story because I found my little plaster the other day and I was talking about running. So your first baby, we won't mention who that was, but your very first baby was probably not the easiest experience for you.
No, it was actually a really, really traumatic time for
Thank God
everybody.
for your second baby.
Well, I know. Talking about dream babies because you were, it wasn't your fault. You did we have problems with your feet that required plasters and caused you a lot of pain. And learning process. I was told to do your physiotherapy while you were feeding, which made feed times horrendous because you just scream. Lots of doctor's appointments, lots of physiotherapy, which was actually really good because I was dealing a lot with other mums and other children who had far greater problems, and they were, it was a real reality check.
Yeah.
And you've always got to realise how lucky you are. And but it was hard. It was really hard because you cried a lot and I cried a lot, and you were the first. Your life just changes so much, doesn't it? Yes. And so I thought, right, I'm terrible at motherhood. I can't do it. I'm no good at it at all. I didn't think having an only child was something I wanted to do, so I thought I'm going to get pregnant as quickly as I possibly can and get this whole family thing over and done with.
So that's your solution. I'm just going to get pregnant as fast as I can.
Absolutely so. Yes, let's get another baby out of the way and then I don't have to do the baby thing anymore because I'm obviously not good at babies. And so Amy was born, and she actually was just one of those unbelievable. She was a little doll in the supermarket trolley that just smiled at everyone and went by. If I chatted for too long, instead of cracking it, she'd just go to sleep. So it was just like having a doll. And I thought, this is why people talk about babies. And they immediately wanted another one and then another one. And so,
you kept going.
Yeah. So sometimes your circumstances can change. And that's what I said. Every baby is different. Mm-hmm. Every mother is different. So there's no one size fits all. Each experience is going to be different.
Oh, well, actually, no, I just want to, you've talked about what it was like having us as kids and, so there were the challenges that went with that. But you now have grandkids and we're in really different times now. A lot's changed. So I'm wondering, what are you noticing is different watching us going through parenting now versus when you were a parent? Are there differences?
Oh, massive differences. Probably the single biggest difference would be electronic media, screens, Facebook, just that. That is the one single biggest change, because the need for a child to amuse themselves with not very much has now changed to where amusement is offered to them in short bites, and they don't need to expand their attention span at all, because as soon as that particular thing that they're doing is no longer 100% gratifying, they can just switch to the next thing, and everything's in short bites anyway. And it doesn't matter what it is. Like if they're drawing a picture and the picture looks great, the picture looks great and the picture's quiet. But if they draw a picture on an iPad and they get within the lines, they get bells and whistles and sparkles and they get rewarded for all of that. So I think it's the intense, they develop a requirement for reward. It's just a lot of things are very, very different. Also, you had a lot more freedom when you were small, and certainly when I was small.
Certainly feels like there was a lot more freedom when we were.
Yeah. And I don't know if things have as much changed as much as that maybe we just know more about what is actually out there. I think about myself as a child being a brownie, and one of our tasks per year was to go door to door knocking on the door, and you go into someone's home and you do a job for them for 20 cents, pop a job. And would you do that to your children now? I'm certain you would not. You would not let them go into a random
Partly for the
home.
protection of the neighbour, though, to be fair with my children.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Can you imagine if I let Amy leave her loose in someone's house?
They'd probably just give them the money to go away.
I reckon.
Yeah.
I feel like,
We used to go door to door selling horse poo.
You did.
That?
You did. Yes. And I remember that they would
yard.
also buy that to see them go away.
Our first neighbour bought the whole barrel, I think, out of sympathy, going, I can't have her wheeling that up the hill to the next neighbour.
Little did he know how many wheelbarrows there were.
So, Mum, I know that you look after obviously you look after the grandkids a fair bit. And when we were little, we would go off and build a cubby house or disappear for half a day. I know now if my kids disappear for half an hour, I'm worried about what they're doing and what they're up to. And I know that, from my perspective, I know how we grew up, but watching the kids now, it's really difficult to watch them, get so absorbed in technology, and it feels like it's just a world that, we have to just deal with because it's the world that we're in. But how do you go, like when you're looking after the kids, do you try and mix things up a bit? You see them with technology. Do you find yourself sort of torn between what you knew and the world that we are in now? How do you cope with that with the grandkids and watching them and how to entertain them?
No, I don't think you can really do that, probably because I don't have the things in place, such as the horses.
Well, that's true.
That were around when...
To be fair, I never did like the horse thing.
No, you weren't so into that, but you just had to go along with it.
You do have a very, very nice playground.
I have probably put some effort into making sure there is outdoor play available for the children.
Yeah. And so let's just talk about that for a sec, because Mum wants something. Let's put it this way: if Mum needs to fix something, the oven's broken. Typically, that turns into a kitchen renovation. If you decide you want to put a swing set outside, you end up building an entire playground, probably better than half the playgrounds that are in City Park here. So you decide randomly that you want to build a playground, and what do? You go and piece together. And can I just say as well, like, if I want to build something, I need to get a whole load of help from a lot of other people. You go, you know what? I'm going to go to the tip shop and see if I can get inspired by something there. And then you build everything around that.
So I do love recycling. Lots of recycling. Look at the robots are made for little boys. That all bits of we built them all together. With
yes, I do. It's still Levi still has it in his bedroom.
Yeah. So I do love finding weird things and just building. I think that was my own growing up. We would play with a bag of clothes pegs and the chickens. Like you'd find some old rags and clothes, peg them around the chickens, and suddenly they were little people, and you'd put them in a...
Hang on, the chickens. You would dress up the chickens.
Dress up the chickens.
That's awesome.
It's true. It's true.
Yes. Oh, I love it. So fun stories. As a parent, we've all got crazy stories, things that we look back on and we didn't laugh at the time, but we laugh about it now. Aim, have you got any? You might be too in the thick of it, but actually this morning I did have to have a little giggle. You're on your way here, and I rang you just to make sure. Don't forget to bring your cookbook with you. And Amy says, "Oh my gosh, this should be an Olympic sport."
Oh, leaving the house.
Leaving the house.
Oh, I say I do like 15 trips between the front door and the car. No, I was cross because I said to Rory about 15 million times, put your shoes on, and he thought his job was done because he could only find one shoe, so that was good enough for him. So he had one shoe on. He's like, I can't find the other shoe. So it doesn't exist. It doesn't matter. So there's that. And Reuben's refusal to get his pajamas off in the morning is
the current thing.
Funnest thing. Yeah. No, but I did have a bit of fun with Rory's right into the Olympics as well. And so we turned everything into an Olympic sport. I got over repeating myself the other day, so I quickly grabbed a pair of kitchen scissors from the drawer and a piece of cardboard, and I cut out this circle out of the cardboard, wrapped it in foil, and drew a number 1 and tied it to a ribbon. I went, right, here is an Olympic medal. Who can pack up and win the packing up Olympics? And both boys just went nuts and just packed up all their toys. And I was like, what have they done? This is amazing. This is a cured territory.
It didn't work anymore. So.
Yeah.
I love how as you're telling that story, you're like, God, I was angry. I had grabbed the It's like
literally made it was silver because it was foil, but I wrote a number 1 on it. So
I wrote a number 1. I love that.
I wrote a number 1 on it. And
some of our best things come out of frustration.
Yeah, it took me about 4 seconds to make an Olympic medal. And the boys were just very happy with that. That was
I actually love hearing that because I always feel a little bit guilty because I feel like you speak so nicely to your kids. You're so loving to them and you've got so much patience. I do not feel like a very patient parent. And so hearing you say that makes me feel a little bit better.
I tried to explain things to them, but then it turns into frustration when you feel like to a point you've just wasted 10 minutes of talking because they're not listening. Soon they say something and you go, you haven't listened to a single word I've just said.
Oh, no, you lost it a long time ago.
Yeah.
So, Mum, fun stories, things that you laugh about now you didn't laugh about when they happened?
Oh, look, there would be one a day. That every day with my grandchildren, they crack me up. Something will happen, and you forget. You really should record all the weird things that they do. But like even the other day when Amy decided that the inexcusable thing that mothers should never ever do, which is go to the toilet and leave your children. Oh, what sort of mother does that? And she came back. Yes, that's right. And so ribbon drawn all over Hudson with red texture, and I just thought that's just so hilarious because that's just the way it is.
And they were sitting there quite happy with.
Actually,
do you remember the time there were a couple of do you remember the couple of times? I suppose it's the stress of being a parent, right? Mm-hmm. And traveling. Is that not the hardest thing to do with children? Sorry, I should say that now, shall I? Because no one can do it.
Oh, traveling, but like just getting in the car. Sometimes I'll just make a coffee and get into the car.
The times that we nearly missed the plane and sort of all got, because when we travelled a lot, when you guys were small and being called to the airport as we're parking the car. And do you remember the time we all together went to Bali, the whole 7 small children, and it was a raining, bucketing day. David was already in Sydney and I caught the early flight. So I had all these in the big old, station wagon with the booster seats in the back and drove to the airport and said, quick, everyone get their bags, head out, run inside because it's raining and what have you. So the boots open, the car doors are open, and we tore into the airport and got into the check-in queue, and I was just going to go run back and park the car, and the guy said, oh, my God, you're going to miss your flight. You need to get through quick and get on your plane. So we did. And then when we got to Sydney, David said, where did you park the car? And I said,
and it all comes flooding back.
Oh, my God.
Time.
It's still running by the curb with the doors open and the boot open.
So I parked it in the 3-minute zone.
Yes. And then we're in Sydney, and what do you guys need to do? Because 7 children, go to the toilet. So go to the toilet. Right, I'm going to sneak in and go myself as well. And all of my children seem to have been able to speak literally after they were born. Very strong, clear as a bell voices. And so I'm going to go to the toilet myself. Oh, Mummy, you going to the toilet too? Yes, darling Sam. Oh, Mummy, are you doing a poo now?
Well done, Mummy. That's a good poo. Well done.
Yes. Mummy, you do have a big bottom, don't you?
Who was that?
I'm not going to say.
I get, Mummy, I think there's another baby in your tummy.
Yes, so good on you. So look, there's so many stories. It's just where would you start, where would you finish? But
or in a house full of boys, you probably wouldn't have got these. But Mummy, where did your doodle go?
Yes, I've had that one.
Yes.
Mum, there's something wrong with yours.
They've just realised that it's not there.
And well, likewise with all of the girls, because you used to comment so much on your dad's extra bits. And I remember you saying to him once,
I can't believe we're talking about this on a podcast, but anyway.
I remember you saying to him, I was watching very carefully, and you said, Daddy, do you poo out of that tiny little thing too? And he said, well, first of all, it's not a tiny little thing. So, yes.
Oh, he's hoping Dad never listens to this. I've got to say, because you had all girls except for Ryan. So Ryan's
not a girl.
No, but our litter, going back to the litter thing, you had girls. And then Ryan came quite a bit later. I was, 12 when Ryan was born? Did I get that right? 12? Yeah. So I knew what it was like having a house full of girls. We have got a house full of boys. Now, I don't know if you've got this yet, but I do. And the one thing that I really, really, really struggle with.
You never have a clean toilet.
Oh my gosh. No, but you do. Flatulence in a house full of boys.
No.
And the fact that everyone thinks it's funny.
Yeah, we haven't got to that yet.
Yeah, all right. Well, that's one of the phases that never goes away. Anyway, I'm glad that we could have this talk with all of you about toilet flatulence.
It was
always going to go there. You do have an underwear story while we're there.
Oh, that was you. Actually, I don't know, something about all of my children and even my grandchildren, thinking about your lads, trying to get underwear on them as they leave the house to go to school, and having to get the letter home from, I think it might have been your teacher, Sam. Yeah, could you please ensure that Samantha is wearing underwear when she comes to school, particularly when they're sitting in a circle in the kindergarten, cross-legged.
To be fair, I actually remember that time, and I remember what happened. And it was sports day.
Yes, and you did win because everyone was behind you.
Good, laughing up at the back. I know. I remember you laid my clothes out every day. You'd always put them at the end of my bed, and it was your fault because you didn't put underwear out that day. And I did what I should do, and I put my clothes on, underwear missing. Figured she didn't want me to wear underwear today. Actually, to be fair, I know I didn't even notice because I remember it was summer, and we were in a bus on the way to school, and the old vinyl seats. And I remember sitting on the vinyl seats, and it was that moment when I went to get up when I got at school and went, why is my whole bottom stuck to the seat, not just part of it? And of course, that was when I realized I'm not wearing underwear. I thought, well, I can just hide it all day. I'll just hide it. But of course, it was sports day, and I had the little tiny sports skirt on. And I remember Ben, I'm not going to use his last name because he might listen to this, probably won't, but I'm not, just in case someone goes, I know that person, I'm going to share it. Hi, Ben. Ben is behind me in the relay, and all I can hear him screaming as I'm running away is, she's not wearing any underwear. She's Nicholas. And I was Nicholas for the whole rest of primary school.
And the thing is, what surprised me probably about that is I thought by the time you were 12, you would have started to work out whether you're wearing underwear or not. But,
Thanks, Mum. But to come back on that, because that was one of your moments as a parent. I know you've spoken about this for multiple times and talked about how embarrassing that was as a parent, because you get this letter home from school and school tells you that you need to start ensuring that your children wear underwear, and that they had to put spare undies on me this day. I don't want to ask about where they came from, but I feel like this is just every day of my life. I don't know about you, Amy, but you're constantly feeling like, I feel like people are watching me, that, I'm not, like what you said, watching other people in the supermarket thinking they're all doing so much better than I am.
I got the letter and I just thought, really, what was wrong with a simple phone call saying, hey, Sam forgot her undies again. But that's not the biggest, it's not that big a deal. Everyone was fine. I just think it's a mystery to me that with daughters, they have to wear that, like the socks. You wouldn't have gone out of the house without the socks that had the lacy tops on them, right? You would have absolutely made certain that you would have had two exactly the same colour lace, and your pigtails, they would have been even. They wouldn't have been like that. They would have been perfect, part down the middle. But you forget your undies. I don't know. Anyway,
people don't see it. That's the difference.
Mysterious. They will mystify us forever.
Actually, Levi, my youngest, as we know, has maybe it's hereditary. He really struggles. Well, not so much now, but up until maybe a year ago, really getting underwear on him was a challenge. So every day it was this, like an Olympic sport. It was like, hey, have you won the prize for putting underwear on today? And he would show me. Anyway, he went to your place one day and he came back, and you must have had a word to him about wearing underwear. So he came out really proud of himself, and he had put on 8 pairs of undies. And he said, I'm making up for all the days I forgot to wear undies when I was at Grandma's house. She'd be so proud.
Every day and for a week.
Oh, gotta love it. So guys, being a parent is a full-time job. Amy, you've decided to take on multiple full-time jobs whilst doing it.
It's actually a full life job.
Full life, that's true. Actually, do you still have to do any parenting?
No.
I remind kids.
No. No, never.
No, it gets easier, right, when they get older?
Absolutely. Never have to offer advice ever again. I think you stop being a parent when your children are what?
It probably gets more because you're doing adult children and little ones as well. So you've got more. It just gets more and more.
Actually, I do have a bone to pick with you about that. When I fell pregnant, I remember you saying to me, now, I'm just going to tell you now, everything is a stage. You know, you'll be tired, you'll be grumpy.
Some things are a stage.
Okay, all right. I'm glad that you clarify that now, because one thing you didn't say to me, and I wish you had, is eventually those beautiful little babies become teenagers.
Yeah, they do. Mm-hmm.
And then you've got your life cut out for you.
Yeah, I mean, that is another stage, however.
I don't feel like this one's ending.
Yeah. Oh, but it is, yes, just one thing. It's just an involvement, isn't it? One thing evolves to another. I think what I mean by a stage is there are some things they don't matter. You can control them to some extent, like teething or breastfeeding or nappies or sleepless nights or, you know, standing out in the rain, freezing cold, watching school sports or something like that. Those things, you know, you do them and they're great. They have their ups and downs, but you can say, okay, this will pass. You know, I'm not going to be for the rest of my life standing, you know, freezing my tail off in at the edge of a boggy soccer field. And so you don't have to take it that seriously. You don't have to beat yourself up that you've got to do this. But there are other things that you need to take very, very seriously that aren't stages. For instance, if your child's being bullied, that's not okay. That's not a stage that's acceptable. So you have to intervene. If they have a poor peer group, that's not a good thing. That's a really bad thing, and you need to intervene. So sometimes intervention is required, but much of the time, pick your battles. Yep. Let it go. It will pass.
So, Aim, if you could go back and say one thing to your past self, what would you say to the version of Amy maybe that was just thinking about becoming a parent or just starting to become a parent?
I honestly couldn't pick one thing. There'd be so much.
So many.
Like, and it's not a negative thing. Like, people did say to me, you would never imagine the amount of love that you feel for that child, but you can't put into words that love, like, and the feeling of doing absolutely anything in the world for that child or for those children. And it's the best and the hardest job in the world. And a lot of people would say that, but I don't think I could pick something that I would say to myself before. Like I said, I have no regrets, and I wouldn't have made myself less busy when I was pregnant with Reuben. Like, I'm proud of everything that I've done, and I'm glad of everything that I've done, and I wouldn't change anything. But it is a learning on the go. Like, I think if you knew everything before, then, you know, it still wouldn't help you. Yeah, you've still got to do it. You've still got to get up in the night. You've still got to change nappies that go up into the back of their hair. You've got
the number threes.
Yeah. The punados.
Yeah.
Punamis.
Actually, the first one of those I ever got was we're back to poo. Was during my first, we used to have parent groups. You used to have to, what did you call it when they don't do it anymore, but right after you have a baby, you have to go to this
antenatal class.
That's not what they called it, but yeah, I guess it is. And you had like a series of 4 or 5 of them, and you'd have to present yourself to all the other mums there, and you'd be in a circle and you'd have to talk about your newborn and how you were coping, and they'd weigh them and do all that stuff. It's like the clinic now, except this was done in a group scenario, and I got my first number 3 right as it got to me, and I had to tell everyone how I was coping, and I was wearing white pants because at that point I hadn't learned that lesson.
Let me show you how I'm coping.
Yeah, like, this is it. And of course, that was me in a ball of tears. And anyway, learned my lesson that day. Never wear white.
Yeah, never wear white.
Never wear white.
Paisley. Only wear Paisley.
So, guys, being a mum is, as I was trying to allude to before, a full-time job. Mum said it's a lifetime job. But the question is, because we have to be what we have to be for our kids and our grandkids and everyone around us. And you were working, you were more than working. Amy keeps going, I don't work at the moment. Well, you wrote a book, you were on Masterchef. I get that was before, but there were a lot of responsibilities that came off the back of that. You went to university, you're now a teacher, and you were hairdressing back to support yourself through doing all of this whilst doing the parenting thing. So my question to you guys is, what do you do to look after you? What are some of the little things that you have done or you do, like in your case, Mum, when you just knew you needed to take care of you or you weren't going to be what you needed to be for your kids? What are your go-tos?
For me personally?
Yeah.
I would say
we were perfect. But
yeah. I mean, it changes, obviously. Your needs change. So if it's a matter of what you can do, because when you have a little baby, you might not be able to say, I'm just going to go out for a run. But I think fresh air, you can get,
100%.
For me, it was
exactly
outside and do it therefore with the baby. If you can get outside, somehow a screaming baby is far less offensive outside than in a small, if you can. And I feel, shout out there to all the mums who are doing it tough in lockdown with babies and small kids and
homeschooling and
all of that thing. It must be
but just to put on a bit of grown-up music rather than listening to the soundtrack of the new movie.
Or some of the kids' songs can turn into real earworms, and I think exactly that.
Peter Coon. That's we used to listen to it, and I feel so bad because now I'm waking up in the middle of the night singing Mr. Clippity Kane.
Are you actually still listening to Peter Coon?
Yes, because they've started playing it in Rory's class, and I was like, and I got excited.
At first you got excited, and now you're like,
I know. So therefore protect your brain. And
so listen to my own music
that you
and
love.
going for a walk and getting a lung full of fresh cold air is.
I'm very thankful for AirPods.
Read something that doesn't rotate around work or children or politics or find things that debrief your brain. Just let it. It's like walk outside and just take that big breath in and that big breath out. Listen to the birds. Look at the water. Just take 10 seconds.
Now it makes sense why they bought the shack when I was 7 or whatever it was, and it was like beach.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the little playground.
And yes.
Having said that, I was really super lucky with all of you guys. I couldn't have had better children. I've been really, really, really lucky in the whole. I hear you say, "Well, shack." How lucky were we to buy a shack? What would we have done without that? It was great. Great times. We had the horses. We had so much fun. And I still look back, I wouldn't change any of it. You've grown up to be the way you guys have grown up to be. I'm really proud of all of my children and very, very lucky. Super lucky.
So I paid her to say that.
Yeah. Sponsorship.
So I'm music, fresh air, they're your things that you do to I've got to
just
say
going out for a walk, getting breathing up, your blood pumping.
Yeah. You do go out and walk a lot, which is awesome, I've got to say. And notice
me now, I don't get out
with these guys.
With them,
no. Sorry, I meant with them. You're outside a lot, which is really good. Yeah. I've got to say I'm really thankful for AirPods.
Yep.
Because I can have one in.
Oh, how did we cope with cords?
I don't know.
They just get whipped out your ears straight away. It's like
that is true. That is true. Yeah, you forget about that with the grabbing of the everything.
Yeah. But just to be able to talk to someone on the phone and change a nappy at the same time, be like, I can't just go, sorry, I've got to go.
Well, I used to put my phone on speaker and that wasn't always a great thing.
One of the things really funny about that is that when you guys were babies, I didn't even have a mobile phone. Like there weren't even portable phones. The thing had a curly cord and you spoke to it.
Yeah.
And so you used to have the
attached to the wall.
Yeah. It took like 30 seconds to dial a number.
I know. And then if you got it wrong, you had to start again.
Yeah. Or if you forgot halfway through because someone spoke to you, you'd have to put the phone down and start dialing.
Actually, the kids asked me the other day that there is actually, I can't believe it, there's still a phone booth near our IGA and the kids saw it and asked me what it was.
What is that?
And I told them it was a replica of what's the TV show, the guy that gets Doctor Who. I told them it was a replica just, for that TV show. And
Telstra sponsored Doctor Who.
Or for Superman to get changed in because he uses them too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I forgot about Superman. Yeah, of course. I could spin that one. Levi might think. Anyway, who knows what Levi might think. All right. So, Mum, favourite book. We're building a book list, our Accelerator book list. What would be one of your favourite books? Could be anything.
Yeah, could be anything. All right. Well, I was just saying before, read something that can let you get away for a little while. And I've just read the 2 Robbie Arnott books, The Rain Heron and Flames, which both of them, Flames set in the Tamar Valley, but he's a local young Tassie author and just such a brilliant young writer. I loved the way he wrote. It's different. And it was escapism. Definitely not. Don't think there's no realism in them, but they're beautifully written. and beautiful stories. So
awesome.
Yeah.
All right, I'll have to check those ones out next. Nice. Amy? I mean, sorry, she did say
books, yeah.
Favorite book.
Favorite
Really, if you want the best cookbook on the planet. Actually, can I just do a little spree for this for a second?
Yeah.
So when Amy finished on MasterChef, because everyone sort of came out and did different things. Some people said, I want to do a cooking show, and
a lot of people, like, there weren't a huge amount of people that said that they wanted to do a cookbook. Like, a lot of people said they wanted to do food writing, food blogging, whereas I just wanted to have a hard copy. I wanted to be able to see it, feel it, hold it, and put almost like a photo album as well. I just wanted to put all of my life and love of food and family's love of food into this book, and which is what I've done. Obviously, I was pregnant with Reuben, my second, when I published it. So there's only...
I was just trying to find a picture that's got, because there's a lot of family. Our family appears in here.
Oh, that's a bit.
There we go. So this actually, is that at our shack?
Probably
No,
that's
on the
down
beach.
at
Right near Amy's house.
Yeah.
Point.
Right. So that's Amy's
my eldest,
husband,
and I was actually
Simon?
pregnant with Reuben at that time. So that's like one of the last photos.
But Amy, you've actually, the thing I love about this is you've actually sectioned it by season and what season at that time. I was trying to find the one of Amy pregnant with the apple trees. But my brother, or our brother Ryan, appears in here without a top on multiple times.
Summer.
That's right, in the summer area. So the cool thing about it is it's all based around Tasmanian produce.
Yeah, because I find that if you're eating or using produce that is seasonal, you're often getting better quality and local quality, local produce. Yeah, I've got my dog and my chooks.
Yeah, the whole family.
The whole family.
Love it.
So I think you get much better food out of using produce that's grown locally and that's in season as well.
Actually, I noticed there's a little chestnut picture in there, and it reminds me of that time. Remember you and I used to do Masterchef nights?
Yes, and we decided to roast chestnuts. We felt like we were being so cultural.
It was the middle of winter, right? And I think we made mulled wine that night as well. Like, we were really trying to, because you'd been to England and you'd done your backpacking and everything.
It was amazing. Like, I was very lucky to travel where I did and eat all this amazing food. And I spent Christmas over in England, in Europe, and there were all these beautiful markets, and at every market there was a little stand of mulled wine, hot chocolate, roasted chestnuts and pretzels and all that beautiful food. But I loved roasted chestnuts, and it was I wanted to have these guys experience it. So we did a Christmas in July, so it was warm, it was cold weather, and so we decided to roast chestnuts and I was like, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah. It was in our house at Newnham, I remember.
Yeah, it was.
Hang on, that's what you didn't do. That's why we had a problem.
Yeah, okay.
We now put the cross in there. Put them in the oven.
What I do remember is that we opened the oven to check and then went, I don't think they're done yet. As the oven closed, they exploded.
We just heard it and went, what was that? Opened it. It was like chestnut snow. The entire oven was coated white with chestnut snow because we didn't score them.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't score them. Anyway, that was one of those fun moments. So anyway, if anyone would love the best cookbook on the planet, then of course
I don't have chestnut roasting in there.
Yeah, there was a pink picture of chestnuts in there.
Yeah, but it's not a.
Oh, no instructions. We're just telling you now, score them. So, favourite book. Sorry, I interrupted you.
So novel, like to read novel. I love periodic dramas. I love based on history and things like that. So like The Bronze Horseman.
Oh, yes.
Is amazing. That's one of my first book loves. And all of Philippa Gregory's books on like the Tudors and all of that. I love that kind of thing. It's fictional history.
Good story with a bit of history in there. Yeah. Love it.
So it's fictional events based on historical times. Yeah.
Love it. Awesome. And very last question for you guys just before we wrap up. If you could have one superpower, any superpower, what would that be?
Can it be cloning yourself? So I've got a me that does the housework and then there's a me that does everything else. I might do that.
Or which one would you be?
So I'd be the not housework one.
Just checking. Yeah.
Maybe invisibility so that the kids can call out for dad rather than mum.
Oh, that's
Do you think that would stop them calling you though? If they couldn't
annoyed
see
because they couldn't see
louder.
Not here.
I love that. Well, guys, thank you so much for, I know it was all a bit weird when I rang you and you're like, what do you want us to come and talk about? But I really, really appreciate you coming.
And we would have known.
Yeah. And I should have also said, I just wanted everyone to know that I was the best sister ever, right?
Yeah.
No, I just want to say that I am so incredibly proud of both of you guys. And I can say that about my mum, as weird as that is, because I think I watched you work super hard and raise kids. And not only that, but you're also an amazing grandma. And I really think my kids like you better than me. Which is okay. I'm cool.
Plan. That's Actually, that's really you don't have to discipline grandparents. You can grandchildren. I mean, you could. That's the whole.
It is. I love how she almost goes. I saw a really great little meme a couple of days ago of my mum when she was my mum, and you got this really angry face and the wooden spoon in her hand, and my mum is a grandma and she's holding lollipops, and that is literally what it's like.
Yeah, you go from can I have this, mum? No. Can I have this, grandma? Of course you can.
How many would you like?
6.
Sure.
Just glad to know where we're at.
You can.
Yeah. And I'm just like watching you do all the things that you do just inspires me. You are nuts, to be clear, but you are such a beautiful mum with your kids, and all of the things that you've achieved, you should be so proud. So I'm just so excited to be able to hold this up and go, my sister wrote this, and not just wrote it, but you continue to promote it and do cooking and things to promote it while you've got babies on hips and in arms and all sorts of things. And here I am going, the best I can do is spaghetti bolognese this week. So
I'm here, ditto. We're both very proud of you. This is you. You're the boss lady.
Greg hates that mug, by the way. I only pull it out when he's not here.
No, look at what you achieved and what you do, and you're juggling. I mean, that's parenting, isn't it? It's juggling. Juggle.
But here's the really cool thing about it. I mean, we all, and the reason I wanted to do this podcast, I think this has come across in spades, is that so many people say to me, how do you do the mum thing? How do you be this super mum? I hate that word, by the way, because you never feel like you're doing an amazing job. You look at your kids and you love them to death and you want to be the best you can be for them, but sometimes it just feels like you're getting through the day. And
survival,
and balancing, how do I be a great wife? How do I be a great mum? How do I be a good friend to the people that need me, especially in the times that we're in right now? And then how do I do my job or run a business or study or whatever it is that we're doing? And I just wanted to pull you guys in too, because, you've both had, unbelievable journeys, and it's great to be able to, I guess, have our listeners who are mostly mums in the direct selling industry hear a little bit about a few different stories about how we've gone as mums and the challenges that we experience. And, you've got sleeping Hudson on you here right now, and, you're just constantly doing that juggle. And I just want to say that I think all of you guys are amazing, and just give yourselves a great big pat on the back, because you know what? I think we're all doing pretty well. We're here, right? So thanks so much, guys, for jumping on in today. It's been great. I really loved sharing you guys with everybody. And I really appreciate you coming on in.
Enjoyed our chat. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, pleasure. Thanks, everyone, guys. And we look forward to seeing you all again next week. Bye-bye for now.